I'm a big fan of using a teleprompter to make life easy instead of memorizing a script. And a teleprompter can be a great tool for Zoom or Skype meetings. I have mine set up on my desktop all day, every day, so I can project the image of the person I'm speaking with in front of my camera so that I can look them in their eyes and my camera is right behind their eyes so it looks and feels natural. My setup involves a tabletop tripod, the teleprompter glass or structure, a webcam, and a small monitor. I just upgraded from this monitor to the one that I'm using now, so I wanted to share more because it is totally worth it to buy this one if you are setting up a teleprompter. Full disclosure, the manufacturer sent me this one. I actually asked for it because I wanted to evaluate it for my clients. And now that I have it, I see that it's totally worth the price. It's a Lilliput A8 and sells for about $250 on Amazon. And of course, I have a link down below that supports my channel. There are two different devices that ship in the same box, so don't get confused. This model does not have a touch screen, but the box that it ships in suggests it does. For a teleprompter, I think having a touch screen wouldn't be helpful, and it may even be a kind of a hassle. I'll include a link to the touchscreen version if you'd like. It's a little bit more expensive. It's down below. And I have a video showing how to use a Lilliput monitor in my teleprompter setup on my desktop. It has a different monitor, but you can see here how it all fits together right up here. So let's talk about why I like this monitor. So this is a replacement for this. This was the A8 from the same manufacturer, Lilliput, and this was discontinued by the manufacturer. And so I was recommending the A11, which was a bigger monitor, but it costs a lot more. So this one, the new one, is the same size as the A11, and it's about $100 cheaper than the A11. Still a little bit more expensive than this one was originally, but this one doesn't exist anymore. So you can see the size difference here. And also, I kind of like just the style here. This just having the glass go all the way to the sides. The image doesn't go all the way to the sides, but it looks a little bit nicer too. The new one also seems brighter to me, and that can make a lot of difference, especially if you're using it for Zoom or Skype and you want a really crisp image to look at someone. And really, one of the biggest wins for this is just how simple it is to configure. On the old one, what these are monitors meant for professional videographers. So they just happen to have the features that we need to be able to set this up on our desktop. So the old one, it had a lot of settings turned on by default that were great for videographers, like peaking and little red lines around where the 90% of the screen was, just strange stuff like that you had to go through, and you had to use all these little buttons to turn that off. Now, the new one has a much simpler system. It's got fewer buttons, and it has this little wheel, which is really helpful when you're having to scroll through all those menus. The wheel also can work as a button. So it's easier to change things, and there's only one thing that you need to change instead of like 4 things that you changed on the old monitor. So let me show you those. So the connections work just the same as the old monitor. So we have one power cord and then an HDMI cable, and I've replaced the HDMI cable that comes with it with a 90-degree HDMI cable. It just fits a lot nicer inside the teleprompter. So we'll drop that in. So when you first purchase this monitor and set everything up, this is what it looks like. It's normal, but then if you look in the mirror, it's backwards. So you need to switch that around, and it's really very simple. All you need to do is push in the menu button here, the menu scroller, and then you can scroll down to settings, and then push in the menu scroller, and then scroll down to image flip, and then push in the scroller, and then scroll over, and you can see here the different options. So you've got horizontal, vertical and horizontal, and off. So what you want is horizontal flip, so it turns it backwards, and then if you look, once again, if you look over on the screen, it looks correct. So turn on the horizontal flip, and that's it. You can push the exit button. That's all the setup that you need to do for this monitor to work inside your teleprompter. So this is the FA1016, and let me show you the difference with the A8. And this is the A8. So you can see the image isn't quite as crisp or as contrasty maybe, and it is smaller. So there's one thing that I'm not a fan of on this, and that is that they put the input button and the power button in the same spot. So if you hold down the input button, it will turn off. So you held it down, what was that, 1 or 2 seconds, and it turns off. And just a quick push will turn it back on. But it does have the capability of using HDMI or VGA, and if you just quickly push that button, it switches over to VGA. And a quick push back changes it to HDMI. However, I found that if I push it too quick to try to turn it off, I end up switching to VGA, and then if I do get it turned off, then it's defaulting to VGA the next time I turn it on. So let me show you kind of what I'm talking about. So if I do that thinking I'm turning it off, and then I actually turn it off, then when I turn it back on, you can see there that it's in VGA mode. And so that might just be a little bit confusing to some of my clients. All you need to do is push the input button one more time, and you'll get back to the HDMI, which is the feed coming from your computer. Just a few last tiny little things here before I let you head over to Amazon, and that is that this model only has an HDMI in. The previous model, the A8 and I think the A10 or A11, both have an HDMI in and HDMI out. I'm not sure why you'd use the HDMI out, and it just, to me, it adds just another place that you can make a mistake and not know why it's working. So this is much better that way. It has the VGA in, and it has an earphone. It does have speakers, so you can use this for your speakers too. I'm not sure why you'd need to do that. And it does have 1/4 screw holes on all the different sides, on the 4 sides. And that might be something if you want to mount this to a tripod. As I mentioned earlier, this is really meant for videographers. This whole line is meant for videographers, but it's really the only portable monitors that I've been able to find that have that horizontal flip, which is the important thing when you're setting up a teleprompter system. So thank you, Lilliput. Thank you for providing this, and thank you for having that switch there. The horizontal flip ability is something that is really pretty uncommon, and it is completely necessary if you want to use a teleprompter this way with a match of your screen or a mirror of your screen, so that no matter what you're doing, if you're on Zoom, if you're using a teleprompting software, that you can show what's on your screen also on your computer. And if you're only doing teleprompting, if you're only reading a script and you don't need to connect it to your computer at all, you can put an old iPad or something in that spot instead of one of these more expensive monitors. But if you want to do the Zoom thing, you need to have this whole setup, and you need to have one of these Lilliput monitors. Leave me any questions down below.